Hey, hey, welcome back. It is as always good to see you today. You're seeing me for the second time today because I have things that I want to do that I can do at my desk. So, we are once again going to be bagging and boarding some comic book bags and boards because I have more comics I need to bag and board. So, we're going to do that. I did finish my book Nook that I was working on earlier today. Here it is. Because I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. And it does open as well. And his wings open with it. So cool! That's going to go in my closet next to all of my Tolkien books. So, and I have almost all of his books. Excuse me. Um, so, really quick, before we get into hello, Ruby Rose, and hello, Taylor. Yes, you shall not pass. Oops, sorry. I was trying to open my bags and boards. Rosie did do a members stream a little bit earlier. I have watched it. I have some timestamps, but she is going to be taking a little bit of a break. She's not going to be doing a big Thanksgiving food prep stream. She says she might break them up into smaller little streams. Um, and she just doesn't want the attention that's going to be coming her way since Amber Lynn is left YouTube. Um, and she just feels like she's being lumped together with Amber and Foodie Beauty, and I have the hiccups. Um, but she was looking very greasy tonight once again. Um, she was gonna prep some chicken stuff. She put some chicken in the crock pot. She was gonna make a grape salad. And I'll give you one guess as to if she ever washed her hands. That'd be a no. No. She never washed her hands during the stream. Um, but we also found out, so she was getting a bunch of, if you recall from yesterday's live stream, when she got back from Thanksgiving, um, uh, yeah, could be Taylor. But all of her streams are her eating and cooking anyway. Um, she met someone at the Thanksgiving little get together that her friend Danielle was putting on, and she met a woman who she's already said the name of, and a little bit of info there. Um, and they were texting during the stream. She said she hadn't slept since she got back this morning, but then she was starting to gather clothes together, and while she let slip, she said, "Oh, I'm not going to be back home until tomorrow anyway." So it seems like she has a date tonight with the lady that she met. Well, she streamed much earlier in the day. She streamed, it was like 2 o'clock maybe. So earlier this afternoon. And this woman was going to come pick her up a couple of hours later. And she wasn't planning on coming back home until tomorrow. So she was trying to find a cute nightgown. So it sounds like they were going to be having a sleepover date. Um, and she was already just obsessive over this woman. So we'll see how that goes. But she said we might not see her for a little while. Well, Rosie is moving fast. We thought that Amber Lynn was a U-Haul lesbian. Rosie's not a lesbian, but after a week. Amber Lynn's like, I'm so in love. Rosie is like 12 hours. But so that's primarily what her stream was earlier, and just a lot of her fucking singing, sounding horrible. Um, you will notice we have the Christmas tree out and the Christmas poinsettia, and those are of course Legos. The chat back open. Whoops. Did I break it too? Oh no. Why is everything? Let's hope Rosie doesn't decide to move in. Fuck. She's just a mess. Why can't I see? Can I see it if I turn off my camera? No. How did I break my text box? Hello, DV. How did I break you? Oh no. Maybe if I change. Maybe if I change scenes. No. I don't know how I broke it. Let me try to. Oh my god. Why? How did my chat box get broken? Somebody say something. Hey, Hibiscus. There we go. All right. Hopefully that. Hopefully me changing the theme of it didn't break it again. For some reason, there must have been an update or something with Streamlabs because things aren't working properly. I don't know what the something is happening with Streamlabs, and it's there's either been an update or something because things just aren't wanting to play nice this last day. All right, but I think we're good. DV, no, I'm too shy. What game, Hibiscus? All right, we are going to watch a video of Rosie's. This is from February 23rd of 2024, and she is telling the story of being medically kidnapped. Now, I want to look up the definition of medical kidnapping. Hey, Lizzie. Hey, Taylor. Oh, hello, Taylor again. Hey, Heather. So according to this website, it says that medical kidnapping involves children. Let's see. What is medical kidnapping? So it seems to primarily be in reference to children. Uh, so parents and caregivers naturally rely on trusted doctors. When a child presents with unexplained injuries or illnesses, a doctor may use the term non-accidental dental trauma. Uh, so it sounds like when a doctor or somebody takes your child away. Okay, so the definition of medical kidnapping: a child has been medically kidnapped when he or she has been forcibly taken from their parents because the parents refuse to have the child receive dangerous or risky medical treatments. So this is what medical kidnapping is actually called, what it is. No, Lizzie, you were not medically kidnapped. Um, so that is the definition of medical kidnapping. Uh, a child is taken to the hospital for an injury, a psychological problem, or an ailment because the parent is looking to get help for the child. So it's when a medical provider takes decisions and takes the child away from the parents to make medical decisions, or DCS or DCFS. Or if a parent has been accused of medical abuse. Um, I'm sure it is. I don't know if it's illegal or not. It could be. Given the name of it, I would say it is. But that's what medical kidnapping is. So now let's hear Rosie's story of medical kidnapping. It's like that one case that was in the news a while ago, the girl who had an undiagnosed disorder that caused her to get injured easily, and they blamed the mother. They sued the hospital and won. Yeah, like that. Refusing vaccines should be considered abuse. Yeah, I agree. I agree. That is, vaccines are important. So let's hear how a 31, 31-ish year old Rosie was kidnapped, medically kidnapped. While I bag and board. I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me. If y'all don't know, this intro to Rosie's video that she used to use was created by Aren't You Exhausted? The parent is endangering their child by doing that, especially because it's become so dangerous that all, yeah, kids that can't get vaccinated, or people that can't have vaccines because they're either allergic to what's in the vaccine or some other medical disorder, they rely on herd immunity, and that only works if everybody else is vaccinated. Hey, Maggie.
I do try to stay positive, but I also stay real. And this is fucking real right now. Hi, welcome to me.
That intro, hi, welcome to me, gets me every fucking time. I don't know why. It's just, I don't know. Oh, we have the cat's pajamas. Yeah.
Today's video is a really serious subject matter. I'm going to put a heavy trigger warning for this video. It is going to be a story time style, I guess, because I'm just going to freely talk and tell a part of my story.
If any of you, God, if any of you have any issues with any topics that involve like mental health or mental health facilities, this may not be the best video for you.
That I feel like for the first time in my life, I'm ready to talk about in a way that's not from like a completely traumatized state. I feel like the
traumatized girly.
4-year anniversary just passed of this event. It's been 4 years. And I think this time last year I wouldn't have been nearly as ready. I've talked about this story offhandedly here and there, but I haven't gone very in depth. But I found something today, and so I want to talk about it. So trigger warning.
Also, her voice, she sounds a little different here. Kind of like how Amber sounded different in her early videos. Very, very demure, very just trying to be quiet. Oh, you tried one of the mini pies? You got the blueberry one? Not a blueberry fan, but yeah, those little mini pies from Walmart, they're the bomb. If you want just like a little cheap dessert that's just like single serving size, they're pretty damn good.
And there's going to be really serious trauma mentioned here. Like, I guess some people may consider this trauma dumping, but I'm giving you a fair warning. I am going to be kind of skating around other parts of the story and focusing mainly, I think, more so on the 5 days that this is specific event took place. Where, if you read the title, yes, I've been medically kidnapped before. And I think a lot of people don't even understand what that term means. It was something I found out about a bit after the fact.
So here, which pies? So it's the little bitty single serve pies that you can get at Walmart. So here she's defined it as medical kidnapping in this context. Notice she says in this context. Medical kidnapping in this context with abusing involuntary hold practices is in regards to being held against your will when unable to consent properly due to medical malpractice. The term is more common in reference to the state using doctors to take custody of children. Um, if you Sorry if that looked weird. My camera is directly in front of part of my screen, so I was trying to read around my camera. Um, Similar, yeah, kind of like that, Lizzie, but not, but but that's the police coming to get you to hold you. Oh, peach pies are, oh my God. Now y'all are making me want pie. No, kitty, it's my pot pie. Yeah. Here I am complaining that like, oh, all Rosie ever talks about is food, and here we are like, I like some pie. Um, I love that you call it a buggy. I'm not a big apple pie fan. However, McDonald's custard pie, the custard pies are good. I say buggy too. I'm from Southwest Missouri. I say buggy. I've started to say shopping cart because I live further north now in Missouri. Um, you know what else is? Sorry, we'll get off the pie talk in a second. You know what else is really good? Popeyes has a strawberries and cream pie right now. That pie is freaking good. But also McDonald's holiday custard pies. Oh, when they're fresh and warm. Oh my God. So fucking good. So good. Oh God. My fat ass wants some pies now. Ooh, the strawberry biscuit. That fucker is sweet. It's diabetes and a biscuit right there. All right. So, was Rosie medically kidnapped? In her little mind, she was.
But you know, this event involves very light mention of an essay event. It also mentions really significant abuse at the hands of medical professionals, not only to myself but to elders and other.
Okay. Remember all of these accusations that she's making. Um, so remember all of these allegations. And again, trigger warning if any of these subjects will affect you adversely. Please click off.
People, and specifically talking about mental health inpatient facilities and what that can be like in American healthcare. This is my story about Anchor College Park, Georgia. Anchor is a mental hospital located in College Park, Georgia. It was over an hour from where I lived at the time and where I grew up. I grew up in North Metro Atlanta, and I had moved back there in 2019. I had a really rough 2019 just in general. 2 weeks before this event, I quit my job, obviously unrelated, but I had been working for a pretty horrific workplace. It's the only job I've ever walked out on. It's the only job experience where I feel like I dealt with like.
It sounds like she's reading, but I'm not sure. I'm just looking to see LASIK is LASIKing tonight. This is the review for this hospital um, on rehabs.com. A 2.6 stars out of 39 reviews. Um, this person wouldn't even send their dog there. I wouldn't want anyone to live there. I was triggered not by patients but staff slamming doors, letting others push me. It's in a poor area, and lots of people on fixed income make the facility seem like second-class treatment. Good counselors, such a bad area, very run down. Um, Says some of the staff seem to not be great. Um, yeah, so the reviews for this place aren't great. Uh, a lot of people in the review seem to think like the staff, which you're going to have good staff, you're going to have bad staff, and it seems like a lot of people got staff that just don't care. And unfortunately, I think that's going to be the case. Um, This person has said she lost almost 20 pounds while she was there. Um, I don't know if it's state run. This person said, adolescent parent. It's the worst experience I ever had. There's no information given to parents about minor children. Yeah. So a lot of people haven't had great experiences in this facility. That seems to be the norm almost for this place.
Abusive management and staff, and that's a whole separate story. But I was floating in life, and I was really, really deeply unhappy. And I had just gotten back together with my ex, but we were under the understanding that we were in an open relationship for the first time ever. And prior to that, it had not been that way. And I had been going out partying, meeting a lot of people, doing a lot of things, and I had made a lot of friends that year. I don't really speak to anyone from that period in my life because
She's so agoraphobic.
of just how off course I was. I was so not me. Like, anyone that met me in 2019, they didn't fucking know me. They knew the most broken version of me. They knew the most toxic version of me. They knew the most, frankly, strung out version of me. I was so addicted to THC vape carts that to this day, I still have a bump on my skull. Where is that? Right here. That formulated because I abused them so heavily. One day, I felt such severe pressure in my head.
What? What? I don't I don't think that's medically possible.
That to this day, I still have a bump on my skull. Where is that? Right here.
I believe I was given black market carts from someone for a good portion of this time. It doesn't work that way. Now, I don't know what she's talking about. Carts? Are these like, but they're not going to cause what?
That formulated because I abused them so heavily. One day, I felt such severe pressure in my head as I was smoking it. I felt this bump formulate, pop up in my skull. And at one point, when I
What? I don't know what she's talking about. Carts? I don't know what she was smoking. I don't know what she's referring to. I'm not familiar with this substance. No, it's not a pimple. It would be there for 5 years. She's saying that there was so much pressure that it caused a bump in her skull. That's not how it works. She does understand that her skull is bone. Maybe a vape cartridge. That could be what she's talking about. A vape cartridge. That's that's not medically possible. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but to relieve pressure in your skull, they have to take a chunk out to do so. It's She has a bump on her head. It's not going to be her skull though. She just has a bump on her head that apparently has been there for several years. Did she get high and hit her head? No, I don't believe there are lymph nodes in your forehead. Um, I think she is not the brightest, and I don't think this is medically possible. I mean, somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but that's not medically possible. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Let's hear that story again.
I
She
finally had
believes.
a neurologist today. I still have a bump on my skull. Where it's a broken version of me. They knew the most toxic version of me. They knew the most, like, frankly, like strung out version of me. I was so
So saying strung out would imply to me that she's doing heavier illegal substances, but it sounds like she's just vaping.
addicted to THC vape carts. That
Oh, THC. THC vape. Okay, what do we got here, Lizzie? Astomas. Okay, so that's just like a yeah, that's like a little tumor, but she's saying that smoking these THC vapes caused a caused this, that suddenly she felt all this pressure and this bump appeared.
to this day,
Oh, we don't need Meredith Grey, Lizzie. We need Dr. House. Yeah, Taylor.
I still have a bump on my skull. Where is that? Right here. That formulated because I abused them so heavily. One day I felt such severe pressure in my head as I was smoking it. I felt this bump formulate, like pop up in my skull. And at one point when I finally had a neurologist touch it, like no one's just taken it seriously yet that I've seen. So, I did get a head scan. Like at some point I got a CT scan, but I'm too fat for an MRI or anything else to like kind of figure out what happened. But I've not really been the same since. So, don't THC vape. Don't vape, period. God, don't vape. Just kind of want to set the scene. January 1st.
Such a fucking idiot. Such an idiot. Lizzie.
Was coming up, and I knew that when the new year came in, I wanted just to hit the job hunt, try to find something better because I was living in the red. I was on the verge of being homeless. This was the beginning of a long stretch of period of housing crises for me during the COVID pandemic and all of that. So obviously I didn't know that at the time, but I walked out. I was really depressed at Christmas. I spent Christmas with some friends of mine. And then I had like a ton of opportunities to go out for New Year's. I could have gone to downtown Atlanta, gone to a nightclub. I had multiple house parties I was invited to. I was just very social in 2019.
She was the popular girl in 2019. She was Miss Popular, and she was invited to everything. She was the party girl.
I was like heavy in like the BBW scene in Atlanta at the time. And I went through my wild phase in 2019 to say the fucking least. And I decided to play it safe. I had a bad feeling about New Year's, ironically enough. And so I thought it would be safe if I went up to an hour north of me to like the mountains. In
I almost read that out loud, Maggie. What?
up near Fort Mountain was the location I went to because there was a married couple that I was friends with. Something happened that night that I'm not going to get into in this video because that's not the point of it. But that event changed the entire trajectory of my life.
So dramatic.
It is single-handedly the most traumatic thing that I've experienced. It was the catalyst of the most traumatic period of time I've had as an adult. I was already diagnosed with PTSD for several years at that point. I was, prior to my ex and I breaking up the first time and me moving to Georgia, I was doing a lot of EMDR therapy and working on myself, and that all stopped when I moved to Georgia, and we kind of stopped therapy at that point in an inopportune time.
I lost my insurance benefits and access to my trauma specialist.
And I was not in a good place. I really can't stress that enough already. to begin with, and I could not figure out how to function on my own. I was just
Still can't.
drowning in bills and life, and
Say that again.
I really can't stress that enough already to begin with. And I could not figure out how to function on my own. I was just drowning in bills. I could not figure out a good place.
Did you say drowning? I was just drowning and not drowning.
I really can't stress that enough already to begin with. And I could not figure out how to function on my own. I was just drowning in bills.
Maybe she just misspoke. I was just drowning.
In life, and it was my first time like really ever being alone, and I wasn't doing well with it. After that event, it happened at about 2:20 in the morning, January 1st, 2020.
Okay.
And when I finally got home, got out of the situation, that started a 72-hour mental breakdown that I barely remember. I was just trying to pretend that I was okay when I was clearly like
So what started?
unable to function.
Wait, what started this breakdown? She went camping, and then January 1st, 2020.
How to function on my own. I was just drowning in bills and life, and it was my first time like really ever being alone, and I wasn't doing well with it. After that event, it happened at about 2:20 in the morning, January 1st, 2020.
After that event, what event?
And when I finally got home, got out of the situation, that started a 72-hour mental breakdown that I barely remember.
When I got out of that situation, it started a 72-hour mental breakdown. So
I was just trying to pretend that I was okay when I was clearly like unable to function. And I thought that if I just like pretended everything was fine and I just kept doing everything I was doing prior to that moment, that I would be okay. I was kind of freaking out about the situation, and I was calling people that I thought were my friends. Like I mentioned, I was a part of a party scene, and so when things get real, party friends don't stay. I had a best friend at the time who I thought was my best friend, who, when she was in a situation with a man that was very abusive and dangerous, I helped her get out of it. Most importantly, I believed her because this man had a position of power in this group of people. But when it came to my event, she was really weird about it for a day or two until the crux of the moment when all this story really starts, with the hospitalizations. I remember when she finally reached out to talk to me, I was at a restaurant with two of my ex-coworkers, my favorite restaurant. If anyone knew back then knew that I was obsessed with Iron Age. It was all you can eat Korean barbecue. Their food's incredible. If you ever get to go to an Iron Age, they're all.
how is that relevant? How is that relevant? I don't give a fuck what restaurant you were at. I don't know how you can remember all these very specific details when you have so many concussions that have affected your memory. There was some event at 2:20 in the morning, and this story is very hard to follow. I'm having a very hard time following this story. Hey, Hibiscus, good luck studying.
Across like in random parts of the country. It was my favorite restaurant for many, 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 many years. I was sitting outside when she video chatted me, and she proceeded to tell me that I was over.
You're also high, Maggie, so I don't.
Years. I was sitting outside when she video chatted me, and she proceeded to tell me that I was overreacting about the event that had happened, that it was all a misunderstanding, and that I just needed to talk to him like she was there. And that was the moment I snapped. That was the moment that broke me. That was the moment that I remember. I was at the restaurant. I got food all over me because I was trying to eat and I was shaking so hard. And God bless those two people that were with me. The girl that was there with me, she really helped me try to get through it. And I walked out to my car. At some point, I had to leave. Like I couldn't be in public anymore, and I needed to go home.
So she got food all over herself because she was shaking so hard because this friend told her that she was overreacting to whatever had happened. I don't know what happened yet. Maybe she's told us and I just missed it. Maybe it's covered somewhere else. Um, we've seen how dramatic and over the top Rosie can be, and I don't imagine that it was any less so 5 years ago. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Maggie.
On my way to the restaurant, before um, that conversation happened with this person that I like immediately blocked. Um, on my way there, I was driving and there was this like merge lane where they were doing construction, and so like there was this like really big cement mall and there was a very like, quick merge lane in this one road that I had to take to get to the restaurant. And I remember for a very brief moment thinking to myself, like, I could just not turn the steering wheel and like hitting the gas. And I, for the first time in my life, really seriously considered making a decision that was permanent. And then I like, obviously last second was like no, like that's not you talking, Rosie. You know what I mean? I was able to cope in that moment, but I was already at that point. And then while we were eating,
I think so, Maggie.
after I had blocked her and everything, I was trying to eat like I mentioned, and I mentioned the food on the shirt because that's an important detail later. Um,
Wait. If you blocked this friend, how was she able to call you while you were eating if you'd already blocked this person? I'm not understanding the order of events.
but I received a text message at the table, which is one of the reasons why I had to go, and it was from this girl's boyfriend. That's a whole fucking story in its own, but he told me that he was upset that I removed him from a group chat because he was dating this person. And obviously, it was like my group chat, so I wasn't going to keep him in it when they were together and she's being a R word apologist. It's not gonna happen. So,
Okay, okay. There's some context. There's some context. Rosie is saying that she was graped, it seems like, on this camping trip. This is what I'm trying to piece the clues together. It sounds like she's saying that she was graped at 2:20 in the morning on this camping trip. That seems to be the incident.
um, he told me to end it quickly.
So instead of going to the hospital to do a kit or something, or going to the police or something, she's at her favorite Korean barbecue restaurant with a couple of people. Now, granted, women don't report these things for many reasons, so that's her choice. But
Quietly, it being my life. And
I
that was
don't
when
know.
I snapped. Because at first it was like I broke.
I get pretty annoyed. Yes. Yeah, this is like the day after the camping trip. All right, here's what I think. All right, Hibiscus. Here's what I think I've been able to piece together. She was a party girl out in the club scene in Atlanta, getting her groove on, getting getting jiggy with it. And she was invited to all these parties. But she had a bad feeling about New Year's Eve. And she decided to go camping with this couple she knew. So she goes camping. And apparently at 2:20 in the morning, an incident happened, which, trying to use context clues, appears to be a grape incident. The next day, New Year's Day, January 1st, 2020, she had reached out to some friends, this friend of hers that she had helped get out of a bad situation before. That friend hadn't gotten back to her. She blocked this friend. She's driving to this Korean barbecue place to meet some other friends for lunch. She contemplates just running into a barrier and just checking out. But then she's like, no, no, that's not you. Goes to the restaurant, is eating with her friends, receives a text message from the friend that she had blocked's boyfriend asking why he had been removed from a voice or from a group chat. She removed him because he was still with the girl that she'd also removed. And he has allegedly told her to end it quietly and quickly, meaning her life. Now, the friend also has called her at some point during this and told her that she was overreacting. And that made Rosie just so upset she was shaking so hard that she got food all over herself and she needed to leave. I think that's where we're at. She is a horrible storyteller. Absolutely horrible. Yeah, it sounds like the girl didn't believe her.
Like in a brand new way that I didn't know I could break after, quite frankly, the worst 3 days of my life, where I just was dealing with some kind of trauma episode that I didn't know how to cope through. So I get to my car and I'm melting down in a way I've never melted down in my life. I know I talked to multiple people. I don't remember how many or who, except for my mom, because my mom was the last person I was on the phone with. And I believe she was living in Norway at the time. Norway or Florida. Probably Norway. The only part I remember was when I was just, I was like belligerently screaming. I can't say other than like, I felt so out of control. I didn't know what to do. And I remember just screaming the word why over and over and over again about what had just happened. And then I paused. I remember like I was like going, I was just screaming that word over and over again, and then I stopped and I went, I need to call 911. And she goes, okay, please do that. And so I'm not in my right mind. And I tell them that like I need help. I need help. Like I needed some kind of fast track care. I needed help. And it's a really important detail to note here that I didn't have insurance. They took me to my local ER at the time. They gave me some kind of sedative. When they came, like I was being symptomatic, but I wasn't screaming and belligerent at that point. I wasn't like acting out in any way. I just was like uncontrollably sobbing and extraordinarily symptomatic through my trauma responses of everything that was going on.
And what do you mean I was extremely symptomatic? She's using these medical words but not saying anything. What were you symptomatic of?
And whatever they gave me, I still don't know. I'd have to like pull medical records. Made me incoherent. It made me even more out of it than any state I was in at that present moment. I remember like sleeping and coming in and out of consciousness. I remember a doctor walking into the room. I remember like a wavy, like kind of fuzzy visual. Like I remember my visual and hearing being impaired. I remember not being able to understand what the doctor was telling me, that he was explaining things to me. He was barely even looking at me. And he was holding a sheet of paper to me. In the moment, I didn't know what I was looking at. I couldn't understand it. I didn't know what I was signing. He explained it to me, and then I was trying to ask questions, and I couldn't fully form sentences. And what he finally said that like made sense to me in that moment was, you have to sign this or the state won't cover your care. So I signed it, not understanding that I was signing an involuntary hold piece of paperwork and what that meant at that time.
If it's an involuntary hold, I don't think you have to sign anything because it's involuntary. That doesn't sound right. Do patients have to sign an involuntary medical hold. So it is a 5150. Well, 5250 in some states. Okay, she was in Georgia. Let me specify the state. If it's involuntary, she wouldn't have to sign it. If it's voluntary, then I think she would be signing it because so for involuntary, so this is just a general article that I found from why was she unable to understand the doctor? Because of the medication, whatever sedative they gave her to calm her down. Um, so a 1013 hold, so this is just a general, but it allows psychiatric evaluation within 48 hours. If further involuntary care is needed, it can extend the stay up to 5 business days. During this evaluation period, you may discuss with your provider transferring to a voluntary status. I mean, this is could be a different state, but if it's involuntary, then I don't think it's likely that they're going to have you sign anything because it's involuntary. You're not committing yourself. This is for the state of Georgia. Involuntary holds. I love the AI overview. The AI overview says, no, a patient does not have to sign an involuntary hold in Georgia because it is involuntary by definition. Now, AI overviews can be incorrect, but I find that funny. It's like, do they say, no, it's involuntary, stupid. It says it in the name. They don't have to sign it because it's involuntary. Yeah, this story is all over the place.
The state won't cover your care. So I signed it.
So, according to the doctor, he said the state won't cover your care if you don't sign this. Now, here's the thing. She brought herself into the hospital. She called saying, I need help, and took herself into the hospital. Now, I don't know if she told them what the core issue was, because I'm sure they would have performed like a grape kit and any of those sorts of things. But she has called them for assistance, saying, I need help. So the doctor's like, okay, sign this. So the state can cover your care, right? They didn't just pick her up off the street and take her to the hospital because she was acting woo woo. She called and said, I need help.
And then I was trying to ask questions and I couldn't fully form sentences. And what he finally said that like made sense to me in that moment was, you have to sign this or the state won't cover your care.
Yeah, Taylor.
So I signed it. not understanding that I was signing an involuntary hold piece of paperwork and what that meant at that time. I believe it's called a 5150 in Georgia.
Yeah, 1013 is involuntary.
And again, I didn't have insurance. So I stayed in the ER for 2.5 days. So what's that? About 60 hours? For 2.5 days, I stayed in the ER. Had they kept me another 12 hours, they could have released me.
So, hold on. Uh, so 1013. Mental health emergencies. Okay, so it's what doctors or police use when someone is in danger, like thinking about hurting themselves or others, or needs help right away, which is what was happening. She called basically saying she was in crisis, right? Once this form is signed, the person can be taken to a hospital even if they don't want to go. It's not a punishment or a crime. It's a way to keep someone safe when their mind is in danger. Think of it as an emergency timeout for mental health. So they could have had her sign this, I guess. But again, she called them and said that she needed help, that she was thinking of harming, right? So after it's filed, um, they're taken to the ER or mental health facility. They don't get to say no, it's involuntary. A doctor checks them out. They're held for up to 48 hours, not counting weekends or holidays. A decision is made should they go home or stay longer. So once 48 hours is up, the person is feeling better and gets discharged, or the doctor files a 1014, which keeps them longer. If they still need help but are not at the hospital level, they may be sent to outpatient care. So it's not about being fixed in 2 days. It's just about, okay. All right. So we have a little bit of info here. Well, but it sounds like a 10, if it was a 1013, then that's involuntary. And she can't leave until she's discharged. They're held for up to 48 hours. So she can't just leave. It's an involuntary hold.
They were struggling to find a place to send me to because I didn't have insurance. This past year in 2023, for when I talked about going to the mental hospital, like I've talked about that previously on my channel, I had a very different experience because I have good insurance now. But I even then advocated for a hospital bed because I knew that they had cots in mental hospitals, and I was promised that I would be sent somewhere that had a hospital bed.
It's not a
The only
vacation.
place that would take me was Anchor. Now I know why. I had to take over an hour long ambulance ride to this facility, and I just remember being really bored. I wasn't being in the ER in the psych ward for 2.5 days is a lot. I colored a lot. And the staff was a lot nicer there, but I did not realize what had transpired prior. I didn't fully understand how all of this was going to play out until I got to Anchor.
So it sounds like she was held there for so long because they decided that she needed outpatient care. This is what it sounds like to me based on what I've read. It sounds like while she was being evaluated in the psych ward in the hospital, that they decided we need to send her to outpatient care. And they were trying to find a place that could accommodate her because of insurance and that had a bed. That's what it's sounding like. So it sounds like they found Anchor that could accommodate her insurance wise and whatnot.
And what inspired this video at all was I repackaged all my like childhood stuff, and I guess in the midst of me like sorting things, I have very few things left from everything that happened after the span of the story, because this all started on like January 3rd or 4th. I'd have to pull up the exact dates or whatever.
It's been a few days.
And then it went on for a total of 5.5 days. But I found something that I kept initially for evidence purposes, because for a couple years I was really obsessed with the concept of suing people and getting justice because of how unjust everything that I experienced was.
Sure, sure.
But this was from the intake of Anchor. This is like this is truly the lowest moment of my life. Because I only had one pair of dirty clothes and no one to bring me clean clothes. And for transport, I only had the hospital gown that didn't fit. And that was all I had on. So,
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a problem clothes wise. I don't know if Anchor is a state hospital. It probably gets state funding. They're So it says here physicians are on the medical staff of Anchor Hospital, but with limited exceptions, are independent practitioners who are not employees or agents of Anchor Hospital. Um, Christmas tree cake time.
for the ambulance ride, they gave me an orange blanket so my butt wasn't exposed.
They had to take it back. I couldn't keep it. And Anchor had such small blankets I could not cover myself well. Well, I mean, I hate to say this, but most places aren't equipped to accommodate somebody that's 500 pounds. It's it's hard to accommodate people that are 400 pounds or 350 pounds. So, I mean, they could have maybe given her a bed sheet, but this is the intake photo. It looks like
This is me. This was a stuffed animal. I don't know if you can see it right there. I've got
your fingernails are filthy. God, you weren't even washing your hands a year ago.
me. This was a stuffed animal. I don't know if you can see it right there. I've got two of them. There's a story to
Yeah.
that too, but at the time I only had one. And I named her Jade. She's a little squishmallow that the person that I share this tattoo with brought me. And I think this is the most demoralizing, horrific thing on the planet, because this is what they put on all the files, on all your belongings, everything about you. So they have a picture reference of you. The other
Yeah, I mean, that sounds standard practice in the medical hospital. Um, they take a picture and they attach it to stuff instead of just like writing your name on it. what happened to J Bay, but her case they couldn't find her someplace that would take because of her size. Right. You get stuff stuck in your nails, so you just cut them. Yeah, glamour shot apparently. She's got a poop bun going on.
The mental hospital that I went to doesn't do this. This belongings, everything about you. So they have a picture reference of you. The other mental hospital that I went to doesn't do this.
Okay. Maybe they have different policies. Let's look this up too. Why do mental health facilities, oh, caps lock, take your picture during intake? And now remember, she was in Georgia, and the one that she went to recently was in Florida. So it could be a state thing. All right. So it looks like they may take your picture for patient safety, to establish accurate ID, help to identify the patient, help prevent identity theft, just as a reminder of any possible injuries or their appearance. So, hey Cheryl, what did she think when she made that call that she was going to get her hair and makeup done before they took her picture? I know. Strangely, her hair looks cleaner in that photo than it does now. Um, yeah. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so it seems common that a lot of places do take photos of patients during intake. I remember she was in Georgia for this one. For her the more recent mental health facility stays, she was in Florida. So it could be a difference in state requirements as well. So she's making it sound like they just want to humiliate her by taking this photo.
This is this is disgusting. This is this makes me angry.
You're so dramatic. It's just for identification purposes. There's nothing nefarious about it. I'm sure every single patient they take in gets their photo taken. What does she show, Lizzie? The intake photos that they took at Anchor Hospital when she was checked in.
This is this makes me angry. This was when I was
She's so dramatic. This this makes me angry.
lied to, and this is what I was lied to, and that they didn't have any hospital beds in this facility. I still have wrist issues because of how I had to sleep.
She's told two different stories about her wrist issues. But first, let's address the bed issue.
Lied to, and this is what I was lied to, and that they didn't have any hospital beds in this facility.
I guess they only had cots. Okay, but if it's the only place that could take you. Hey, Sammy. Okay, now the wrist thing.
I still have wrist issues because of how I had to sleep.
She's told two different stories about why she has wrist issues. The first story is this, because of how she had to sleep in the mental health facility. The other story is she has said that when she was a kid, she would sleep like this with her wrist. I can't bend my wrist that far anymore, but that she would sleep with her wrist up underneath her, curled underneath her. So she's told two different stories, either when she was a child and it was sleeping like this, or is it because of the hospital? Did I say hello, Sammy? Hello, Sammy. I'm sure I said hello, Cheryl.
They did not transfer my medication over from the ER.
I feel like I'm yelling. I'm so sorry. I'm wearing my headphones instead of my earbud, and I feel like I'm shouting at you. Let me let me not shout at you. They didn't transfer what? Why do her tattoos look blown out? They look like very thick lines. They look like they're either just really thick line tattoos or they're blown out, and I can't tell which.
I have wrist issues because of how I had to sleep. They did not transfer my medication over from the ER, so that this night, the night they took this picture, I experienced medication-induced psychosis for the first time, and unfortunately not the last because
Medication induced psychosis because they did not send her medication over. Okay. I don't believe this. Probably blown out.
all this journey that I went through this past year regarding medication and being so hypersensitive to it and having issues with mental health meds wasn't a problem for me before this place.
That's not how it works. I I could be wrong. Again, I'm not a doctor. But she seems so just I don't want to say smug, but just like I don't know. I don't know how to describe the vibe. I don't know how to describe the vibe that I'm getting from her right now. But it's I don't think that's how it works. It can't. No, yeah, I don't know what medication she's talking about, to be honest.
Induced psychosis for the first time, and unfortunately not the last because all this journey that I went through this past year regarding medication and being so hypersensitive to it and having issues with mental health meds wasn't a problem for me before this place.
I don't, I don't, that's not magically going to change how medication affects you being at this place or whatever medication you were. That's, as far now, I could be wrong. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm a technical writer, but I don't think that's how it works. I don't think that's, I want to pull up the commercial with that lady whenever like they're doing like the liking photos and stuff or whatever, and the lady's like, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. That's how I feel right now.
They denied me water for the first 14 hours I was there.
Oh no.
I was promised up front at the gate by the girl who took this picture of me that they would give me extra pillows. And
Hellos.
again, I was not in my right frame of mind.
You seem to be in a good enough frame of mind to ask for more pillows.
Um, for rules reasons, they tried to take Jade, the stuffed animal, away from me, even though they hadn't given me any of the anxiety meds I had been on for previous days. So I didn't have medication to cope.
Okay, so it was anxiety medication they didn't give her. And there are many reasons why they could possibly want to take um, the stuffed animal away from you. They don't know where the stuffed animal has been. They don't know if it has bugs or lice or anything. They don't know if there's anything sharp or anything concealed inside of the stuffed animal that you could harm yourself with. Is there anything you can chew off of it? That's probably why they want to take this away from you, for your own safety. She's acting like she's a very clean and healthy and lives a great life before that plate. Yeah. They definitely wanted blood work if they were denying her food/water. Could be. Could be. Yes, or drugs in it. Yeah. I mean, there's many reasons why they would want to take this away from you.
But I don't know what it was about Jade over there. She was a trooper, and also I could use her as a pillow. So she kind of helped me out the first night or so I had her. But they tried to take her from me, and me and my fat ass literally like crouched in a corner of the hallway. I didn't know at the time that there was rooms and people were sleeping. I didn't know that. Just screaming, telling them like they couldn't take it. So they let me keep it because it was like, I don't know, probably 10, 11, 12 at night at that point.
It was probably easier to just let you keep the damn thing for the night instead of trying to wrestle it away from you.
Because they did a nighttime intake with me, transfer and intake. And the nurse, whoever, the tech or whatever, that was in my room right afterwards, when I asked for the extra pillow, she laughed in my face and said, "You're lucky you have one," and closed the door in my face.
Right, lots of places take that out to put so they can prevent. Yeah, there's so many reasons why they want to take it. So she's saying the nurse laughed in her face and said, "You're lucky you have one." Can't can't refute that. Reading the reviews for this place, some of the staff aren't very pleasant. So, I mean, maybe that's pretty blatant though.
All the toiletries that we were given in a tub, and they had a rule that if you didn't put everything back in your tub once you were done with your showers, they would confiscate everything. And I have ADHD.
That seems a little bit much. If you don't put it back in the tub, then you can't have any of it. That seems a little bit much. Oh, but she has ADHD, so that she doesn't have medicated at this point.
Pretty severely. And so my second or third
I believe it was my first or second day. I remember having to shower multiple times that way. Hey, at least you showered. Looking at your hair, you could use a shower right now.
day, I forgot. And the rest of my time there, I had to shower with the hand soap dispenser in the bathroom.
They took away my soap, shampoo, comb, toothbrush, all of it, when only some of it had been forgotten due to a diagnosis I have. I I think now not that sounds extreme for just not putting it back into the little tub that you're supposed to put it in. If you just like left it in the bathroom. Um this this seems extreme and not sanitary for them to take away your hygiene supplies. This this I'm going to doubt because this just seems very extreme to me to take away all of your hygiene supplies when they could just give it to you before you shower and then take it away and then bring it back. Does that make sense? These places have crazy rules for everything because so many things can be used to make yourself sick. Yeah, yeah. I mean, sure, she could be drinking shampoo or eating soap or something, but just for not putting it back in the little tub, I mean, it's like, where was it? Did you just leave it in the shower? I mean,
In my room. Somehow, and so my second or third day, I forgot. And the rest of my time there, I had to shower with the hand soap dispenser
doesn't drink her deodorant? Jesus, Sammy.
in the bathroom in my room. Somehow, I got lucky and I ended up not having a roommate the entire time I was there. I don't know how that happened. It was by the grace of some higher being. And they
Well, they took away your soap and shampoo and deodorant. They probably didn't want to put anybody in there with the stinky lady because they took away all your cleaning supplies.
they refused to wash my clothes that night. They didn't have a good reason. It was like the night staff just didn't want to clean them. And all I had was a nightgown with my butt exposed that I had been in.
Maybe they aren't going to do a load of laundry just for your stuff. Maybe they needed to have more stuff before they could do laundry. Oh, I forgot I had this in here. The Comic Relief Shop dog card. That's the shop dog at my comic book store.
For 3 days already, and a pair of dirty clothes that had food encrusted on them that was 3 days old from.
Ah, yes. Remember the crusty food from the Korean barbecue place? And they wash clothes certain hours. Yeah. She's a mutt. Phoebe's a mutt, but she's part of German Shepherd, yes.
When I had gotten food on myself at the restaurant. So they didn't wash it until I started washing it till like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And so I was stuck in my room and.
Well, yeah. She's acting like she's at a fucking resort on holiday. I I need extra pillows. I need extra pillows. I need I need my clothes washed right now. She's acting like they're there to be her servants.
And I was wrapped in blankets. I had 2 blankets I had to be wrapped up in. And I was naked when the psychologist or psychiatrist, whatever, came in to interview me, a male doctor. Again, this is 5 days after one of the worst moments of my life that happened. And I remember he was asking me questions like what Earth is, like just basically trying to make sure I was mentally competent. Again, there was just a theme with all the professionals at this place that they just don't make eye contact with people. And then when they told me they were going to bring me my breakfast or whatever to my room, because again, I was naked, I just was like, I don't care about the food. Please just bring me water. And it was kind of like a thing at that point in my life. I hadn't gotten to try grits yet, and I really wanted to try grits. But like I really wanted them to be good grits. And
What? Oh my god. What? I'm checked into a mental health facility. They're going to bring me breakfast. I really want to try grits. I'm going to try grits. Good night, Heather. Rest well.
I was very hungry. It had been a very long time since I'd eaten, and a very long time since I had had water. So I was just so. I just remember like, I just didn't care about eating because I was so thirsty, and they come back with my breakfast tray, and they put 2 fruit punches on it, but there was no fucking water. They still didn't bring me water.
Be glad they brought you anything. This isn't a restaurant. This is a mental health facility. Maybe they didn't have any bottles of water at the moment. Maybe just why? How can you? I'm just wondering. How can you feel? How can you be so entitled when you've been checked into a mental health facility because you called 911 because you were feeling like you wanted to harm yourself?
So I just was just so frustrated. I just remember I sighed and I chugged the fruit punch because I just needed something to drink. And I got down those disgusting grits They were the most gluey, nasty, shitty grits. And
Grits can be hard to make in bulk. All right. I worked at Waffle House when I was in college for a bit, and I was a cook. I was an overnight cook, and I had to make the grits. I made good grits. I had customers tell me that they were the best grits they'd had in a while there. I also got tips for my omelets, which was weird. Um, but to be at a mental health facility and be like, ooh, I want to try grits. I'm going to try grits for the first time. Something that you don't know. That's right, I'm flexing with my grit making skills. I used to be able to flip eggs too. Um, Grits can be hard to make, though, is my point, especially in bulk. And so for her to be like, I've never had this before, I haven't eaten anything for a very long time, I'm pretty hungry, let me get grits at a hospital to try them for the first time. Now, mind you, she's never had grits before. So, how does she know that grits just aren't naturally supposed to be that way and she just doesn't like them? But just the entitlement that this is giving off. I have the hiccups.
a few months
Oh,
after this
sorry.
event,
Let me do a rosy hiccup.
gluey, nasty, shitty grits. And a few months after this event, I got to go to Kentucky to see a friend of mine who I knew at the time. And I remember he took me to this like really cool restaurant, and they had like grits and catfish, and I got to try actually good grits for the first time. But I still can't do them. Not after that. That's when once the laundry got done, and I went out, and I remember I just like chugged a bunch of water, and I would not let go of that stuffed animal. I think it was the second day. There was a therapist of sorts that manipulated me into leaving the stuffed animal in my room, and they told me that I would be able to come back and that it would be there, but that I would eventually have to give it back to them. And I was lied to again, and when I came back, it was gone. So I had a meltdown. And then
A hospital who doesn't have the best reputation. So they took the stuffed animal away, probably so they could go wash it or something, so they could check it and make sure that it was safe for you to have. That's probably why they took it. And then they were probably going to bring it back to you after they're able to check it out. She's she's so, and God, just entitled is the only word that I can think of at the moment. Just so entitled. Because she gets angry at the littlest thing. The tiniest thing sets her off. We've seen that in all of her recent videos. She forgets to get an ingredient out of the refrigerator, and it's the end of the fucking world. And she's cussing and swearing and slamming things, and it's just the worst thing ever. So I can only imagine what she's doing to these poor hospital staff. She's making it sound like they're just out to get her.
that first day, like I tried to participate. Um, they made Alcoholics Anonymous mandatory, even though that wasn't the thing I needed, and I was really frustrated by that because there's like a really religious component to Alcoholics Anonymous or OA, things
There
like that
is.
that I just don't fucking jive with. And the important highlight of the first day was that they had you fill out a worksheet, and
They say that it's more about like a higher power, higher being than yourself, but not everybody believes in that. And it has a very religious component to it depending on where you are. And being in the South in Georgia, I could see it being a very Christiany take on it. Um, They probably thought she was hiding something in the stuffed animal because of how attached she was acting towards it. Yeah, absolutely. And they probably just wanted to take it to go check it out and make sure that there wasn't anything dangerous in it or anything illegal. The first thing she's ever said that I've agreed with, the AA stuff. I'm very thirsty.
There was an option to like check to speak to someone privately, like for therapy, and I did that because I really just needed to fucking talk to someone. And I never got pulled aside. And the next day, I did the same thing in the check-in, and I walked up to the behavioral health person, therapist, counselor, whatever. And she was sitting at her desk with her binder open, the sheets of fucking faces and stickers and writing her bullshit. And I asked her about the sheet, and I asked her, like, when I could talk to someone, and without looking up from her fucking binder, she just goes, "We don't do that here." And I went, "I'm sorry, what?" Because that did not register as, like, an option at a mental health hospital, that they don't do therapy there. That this doesn't, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. And she repeated herself. She just goes, "We don't do that here."
Maybe they don't do individual
I was, like,
therapy.
standing at the main desk area. There was like a center area, and there was like basically 2 hallways. I think there was like the doctor's office this way, and then behind me from where I was standing in that moment was like the sunroom, the main room where like the water was, and like where the group meetings were or whatever. And I remember like time froze for a second.
So dramatic.
That was the moment that I realized like I was hostage. Like that was the moment that I realized I had fucked up by asking for help. That was the moment when I realized that.
How are you hostage? She spoke she spoke to someone when she was first admitted, I guess, to do like an initial intake evaluation, just to make sure that she wasn't experiencing delusions or something, or schizophrenia maybe. This was the moment I realized I fucked up, she says. Maybe they didn't do extra therapy for the AA section. Could be. Could be.
I wasn't safe.
I wasn't
There's a lot of
safe.
like that. That's the moment that I realized like I was hostage. Like that was the moment that I realized I had fucked up by asking for help. That was the moment when I realized that I wasn't safe.
How how maybe somebody can explain to me, how would the therapist allegedly saying we don't do that here whenever she asked, can I speak to someone, and they allegedly said we don't do that here, how was this the moment that she's like, I fucked up, I'm being held hostage, I'm not safe? Excuse me, she was going to self-harm, but she was not safe. Yeah, yeah. Hospitals on any level are never safe, TBH. Yeah. Girl, you signed yourself into an involuntary hold, apparently. This story makes no sense. Yeah.
And there's a lot of like side things that happened. Like there was a moment with some of the male people, because the male people that were there that were very aggressive and scary. Like they were just very clearly deranged individuals. Like,
Why
there
are
was
we
just like
popping
2
our
of them in the group.
fingers?
There was like really old patients who had like dementia, severe mental health issues going on. One of them was horribly mean all the time. The other one was really sweet during the day, but she was a sundowner, I think is what it's called. I don't remember the exact term, but she didn't live in my hallway, so I never witnessed it. But during the day, she was sweet as pie and really lovely to be around, actually. And then there was a few people there that were like me, who were just trying to get help and got stuck there, not knowing the system, not knowing how to get out. And there was also this girl there.
Why does it matter? Why does it matter? I forgot to mention some people who had private insurances were being kept needlessly against their will for weeks because they had private insurance and were being billed for it. If I remember right, this was reflected in the Google reviews too. Yeah, maybe.
young. She was like between 18 to 20. She had just found out she was pregnant and had a real serious problem with meth and wanted to get clean. So she came to get help because she wanted to get clean for her baby. And they would never.
Sounds like she should have went to a illegal substance rehabilitation and not a mental health facility, unless they offered that there too. Sorry, I'm looking up their programs.
Honor her food aversions, because that was the moment where
They
I
wouldn't
went
honor
into
her
pure
food
fight or flight for the
aversions.
rest of my time there. And I knew that I just had to smile and nod, play the game, and get the fuck out of there the minute 72 hours happened. I was before that moment, I was trying to be vulnerable. I was trying to be honest and heal and be expressive about my needs. At that point, I was like, they don't give a fuck about what I need. They don't care. They are here to collect a check through the government in my name. I don't think that's how I phrased it in my head in that moment, but that's what happened. And so I spent a lot of time trying to help other people because it was how I was coping.
Oh,
Because I'm not
martyr,
new to mental health. I
hero.
know a lot about the systems at play. I know a lot about, how to advocate for yourself, what your rights are, things like that. And a lot of these people have never had a day of therapy in their life. They don't really understand
If you know what your rights are, how did you get tricked into an involuntary hold?
the system. They didn't have the kind of support that I had growing up, things like that. And so I did my best to just try to help people. Because
Notice,
after I had
whoops,
blocked her and everything, I was trying to eat, like I mentioned.
damn it.
Done, and I went out and I remember I just chugged a bunch of water, and they were just very clearly deranged.
She also just said didn't have the support like she had. Yeah, could be
Individuals.
Sammy.
There was just a few of them in the group. There was really old patients who had dementia, severe mental health issues going on. One of them was horribly mean all the time. The other one was really sweet during the day, but she was a sundowner, I think is what it's called. I don't remember the exact term, but she didn't live in my hallway, so I never witnessed it. But during the day, she was sweet as pie and really lovely to be around, actually. And then there was a few people there that were like me, who were just trying to get help and got stuck there, not knowing the system, not knowing how to get out. And there was also this girl there. She was young. She was between 18 to 20. She had just found out she was pregnant and had a real serious problem with meth and wanted to get clean. So she came to get help because she wanted to get clean for her baby. And they would never honor her food aversions, because that was the moment where I went into pure fight or flight for the rest of my time there. And I knew that I just had to smile and nod, play the game, and get the fuck out of there.
So food aversions are different from food allergies. They would have to honor, I'm allergic to this shit. But a lot of hospitals, they're not going to be able, I don't know the funding of this place or anything, but they may not have the ability to make different meals for every single patient. However, if it's I can't eat any of this because I just don't like it, it's going to make me sick, whatever. I mean, they should be making more of an effort in that route.
The minute 72 hours happened, I was before that moment, I was trying to be vulnerable. I was trying to be honest and heal and be expressive about my needs. At that point, I was like, they don't give a fuck about what I need. They don't care. They are here to collect a check through the government in my name. I don't think that's how I phrased it in my head in that moment, but that's what happened. And so I spent a lot of time trying to help other people because it was how I was coping.
Yes.
Because I'm not new to mental health. I know a lot about the systems at play. I know a lot about, how to advocate for yourself, what your rights are, things like that. And a lot of these people have never had a day of therapy in their life. They don't really understand the system. They didn't have the kind of support that I had growing up, things like that. And so I did my best to just try to help people. Because there were times where, I mentioned, there were some elderly patients there. And some of them couldn't feed themselves. And depending on who was staffed that day, sometimes they would help feed them, and other times the nurses were too busy looking at their nails and filing them, not joking, like actually doing that, to do anything other than look at their nails. And so, I mean, there was a day where I literally cut up the sundowner. I'm not gonna try to not use names, but the sundowner lady, I like cut up her food and helped fed her because, you know, some days my food aversions wouldn't let me eat that food. It was so disgusting.
Rosie the
There was one
hero.
day I had 9 rolls for lunch, and that was it. Because a bunch of people gave me the rolls because nothing else I could eat. I could eat on the plate because it was so gross. So I
Yeah, the food, not honoring this other person's food aversions, and apparently her own food aversions, put her into fight or flight. And now everybody's giving her their dinner rolls because that was the only thing she could eat.
rolls for lunch, and that was it. Because a bunch of people gave me the rolls because nothing else I could eat. I could eat on the plate because it was so gross. So I just, and they were not very big rolls either. I don't even know, was it 9? I don't know. It was like a large number of rolls. Like I just ate a bunch of bread just to try to feel full. Because, you know, you didn't get snacks except once at snack time. So again, it was like, this was such a different experience.
You didn't get snacks except for at snack time. Are you upset that they didn't just have an open pantry that you could just go dig into? At least you had fucking snack time. Again, this isn't a resort. It's a mental health hospital.
So I went to like an actual facility. I mean, I wouldn't even send someone I hated to anchor. Like, I don't know how they're open.
Again, I will say a lot of the reviews are not positive.
I don't know how they're a business. I don't understand how they're still like doing the shit that I saw to people because I haven't even gotten to the worst of the stuff yet. There was another older man. He was a handicapped man. He was in a wheelchair. He had like actual medical needs, and this was more near the end of the 3 days. He was in a wheelchair and had a lot of pain issues, a lot of problems, and he kept trying to get seen by the doctor, and they just wouldn't see him. And I literally, how I coped with this whole fucking experience was, back at that moment that I mentioned at the front desk with that bitch ass like behavioral health person, I started treating this entire experience like an episode of Criminal Minds. That's how I coped. Like,
oh, damn it.
I was just like, who can I trust and who can't I trust? And there was like a couple specific people that I could tell like actually cared and saw us as human beings, and other people who just saw us as like subhuman.
I like that cover.
I've never been to prison, but I think that was prison. I think that experience that I had was prison.
Never been to prison.
Disguised as mental health care. I think some prisons are nicer than that place.
Oh my god.
This is so dehumanizing to me. I'm never gonna get over this.
That is policy. Ooh, I like this cover too. That is policy to record what you look like and for safety purposes. Get over it.
But, yeah. So, I got a little sidetracked, but basically, I was able to kind of like profile who I could talk to, how to talk to them, what I could do to like, I would like pick and choose my battles. Like when the pregnant girl needed to eat and
At mental health hospitals, they will sometimes hibiscus. Policies will vary from state to state.
she was someone I kind of befriended, and breakfast was making her so nauseous she couldn't eat it, and the cooks would not listen to any of the patients, would not give them any kind of food, would not do anything extra beyond like what was allotted. So this specific day there was one of the good nurses there, so I went.
Again, it's Taylor, shut the hell up. I'm not saying her stay wasn't horrible, but she needs to realize she was at a basic hospital. Yeah. It's probably a poorly funded, understaffed hospital. And being, she's making it sound like that the cooks in the kitchen should be making individual meals for each individual person. Like they should have, but that's not, they have menus probably for each day. I mean, it's possible they might have some alternative meals for people that might have allergies, like if you're allergic to shellfish, or you're allergic to seafood or fish or something, or you're lactose intolerant. They might have um, some variances for that. I don't know. But she's making it sound like, oh, I need to have all of my meals specially made for me or these people. How it's just
Breakfast was making her so nauseous she couldn't eat it, and the cooks would not listen to any of the patients, would not give them any kind of food, would not do anything extra beyond like what was allowed.
because the cooks, it's not their job to do that. They have to act on what the doctors are allowing them to do as far as food for patients. The cooks can't just give you whatever you want because they don't know if you're, in your right mind. The the cooks in the mental health hospital can't be just giving you whatever you ask for. There's policies for safety.
So this specific day, there was one of the good nurses there. So I went up to her and I just like very quietly, softly explained it because I was like, if I do this on her behalf, maybe they'll listen. And I was right, and I was able to get her extra cereal so she could at least like eat.
Oh, look at that. Hero Rosie getting this girl extra bowl of cornflakes. Look at her taking care of everybody around around her. Yeah, Sammy, you cannot go by what the patient requests because they could request something that's going to unalive them on purpose. It's a mental health facility. You don't get what you right. You can't go up to the cooks and be like, "I would like an omelet, please, with green peppers, chicken, and onion." It's not a resort.
Some dry cereal. And then the same thing with him, the guy in the wheelchair, and getting the doctor, finding the nurses that cared, and just being like, hey, it's been like 2 days of him saying this, and this, like, symptom, these issues, and he's still not talked to the doctor. Like, you really need to get him to the doctor. Like, he needs to get to the fucking doctor. And, the staff was just really atrocious. At the time, I didn't have anything to compare it to. Now, having gone to like a really good mental health facility where like we could get snacks at any time of night. They had like pre-made sandwiches for us. Like you could get water anytime you asked for it. Like all the staff was like trauma informed, trained. Like
again, a different state, a different type of facility, probably better funded because you were using private insurance. And that comment was in poor taste. Yeah.
I mean, just eons of a different experience. It blows my fucking mind that place even exists. Especially when I tell you, like, the story. Like, there was a moment that, like, really encapsulated the worst of the abuse. And this is, like, honestly trigger warning. I mentioned earlier there was a really mean lady. And, like, I don't necessarily think it's her fault. Like, she clearly had pretty severe dementia and some kind of significant mental illness stuff going on. And she would just, like,
You think you're in a mental health hospital? Do you think maybe she might have some mental health issues or something? Shocker. There's a huge difference between private and public funded hospitals. Exactly. Even like nursing homes. Nursing homes that take like Medicare, Medicaid versus private nursing homes, night and day. It's just it's unfortunate that that's the way it is in the US, but it is.
repeat the same things over and over again. Frankly, I'm really glad I don't remember what those words are because for weeks after the event, I could hear her voice in my head over and over again because she would say these same things over and over again. She had a very shrill voice and again, she was really mean. She did not like me specifically. Every time she looked at me with so much hate in her eyes.
I mean, excuse me. Um, Maybe she's one of those old women that you think are crazy, but she's actually a seer, and she could actually see your soul and see that you weren't really a good person and that everything you did was actually self-serving. Maybe she was actually the most well person there, Rosie.
Honestly, could I honestly think it was because I was fat. Like not even trying to make it about that, but
Oh, sorry.
she
It's
just
because you're
like
fat.
she wasn't particularly super nice to anybody, but she especially was mean towards like certain people. I think for her own reasons, and I was one of them. Um, and so I just tried to like steer clear of her because, like, I don't need that. I've got enough going on. Um, and oh, I forgot to mention the time that they tried to use a 6'8" security guard that was bigger than me. I swear to God, that man had to weigh at least 600 to 700 pounds because I was over 500 pounds at that time and 5'6", and he was
Right,
the largest
hibiscus?
human being I've ever been around in my life, and he was the security at this place. And he was bigger than me, like width wise, and literally 6'5" to 6'8", like
So Shaquille.
biggest man I've ever seen. My throat just got that was crazy. Anyway, um, yeah, biggest man I've ever seen in my entire life, and that's come from a real big bitch, right? Anyway, got a joke sometimes. But the one of the staff members that really cared, who ran a lot of the group sessions, that wasn't the other one that I mentioned with the binder story. That person saw what was happening, knew my trauma, knew that, frankly, the security guard matched a good amount of the physical description of the person that traumatized me to begin with. And
Wait. How so? Because it was a man? Because you just said this is the biggest dude you've ever seen in your entire life, like 6'8" or whatever, and just massive. I mean, did he have the same color hair, same color facial hair, facial features? But also, if if so, here's where I have a question. If she told this story at the hospital when she checked in, saying that she was SA'd, wouldn't they have brought the police in to do a police report? If I'm correct in what this trauma was and what the incident was based on what she has said, it sounds like a grape incident or an SA incident. Wouldn't they have brought the police in to file a report or no?
he they like circumvented, so like I didn't actually interact with the security guard, but I remember someone was like, hey, yo, they're coming for you, and I look up and I see the guard all the way down the hallway
Why
walking
is
towards me, and
why
I'm
is the
like
guard coming for you?
flabbergasted, and thankfully
I
there was
like
a
that
staff
color
member that
too.
cared enough to intercept, because I don't know what I would have done in that moment, because I was so just out of my mind, man. I was just not me. I was not me. And anyway, I'm gonna go back.
Yeah, they would have to, unless Rosie didn't tell the staff or the staff. Well, she just said the doctor that knew about my trauma and knew that the security guard resembled the perpetrator of that trauma. So people knew. But why is the security guard coming for you?
Because I don't know what I would have done in that moment, because I was so just out of my mind, man. I was just not me. I was not me. And
So she's saying she was out of her mind and not herself, but she was cognizant enough to have all these thoughts of, I know I'm not safe. I know I'm trapped here. I need to just get through this and tell them what they want to hear. So, were you coherent enough to be able to have all those thoughts? Or were you just not yourself and out of your mind? Which was it?
Anyway, I'm going to go back to the other story. Because I want to say this was like the second night that I was there that this happened.
Keep in mind, I think she was only here for 72 hours. I think she was only here for 3 days and all of this happened.
I was trying to sleep, and I had to sleep on like a flat surface. I had one
No
small
worries,
flat pillow,
Taylor.
so the only way I could breathe
I like that
and
cover
sleep
too.
was sleeping on my stomach. I don't know if you heard that, but I don't even want to do the position because it hurts. With my hands like this on my chin and sleeping on my elbows. It's the only way I could sleep. And that, my friends, is medical malpractice.
Why is that the only way you could sleep? Because you didn't have a pillow? Ooh, I like this cover too. That's a nice cover too. Nice Nightwing cover. Saying that's medical malpractice?
I was trying to sleep, and I had to sleep on like a flat surface. I had one small flat pillow, so the only way I could breathe and sleep was sleeping on my stomach.
Sounds like somebody has sleep apnea.
I don't know if you heard that, but I don't even want to do the position because it hurts. With my hands like this on my chin and sleeping on my elbows. It's the only way I could sleep.
So she had to sleep on a flat surface with a thin, flat pillow. So she had to sleep with her face like this in her hands. And she said that's why her hands hurt, or her wrist hurt now. When she said it's from sleeping like this as a child with her wrists curved in.
And that, my friends, is medical malpractice meets fat phobia.
No, it's not. That is not medical malpractice. She just likes to throw around these terms and words: medical kidnapping, medical malpractice. I feel like I need the uh what's his name? Fez? No, not Fez. Yeah, from Princess Bride. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. Or Inigo Montoya saying that to the guy that said, inconceivable. That's Rosie with the medical kidnapping and medical malpractice.
Because
Right,
that
Sammy?
should be super illegal. This wrist is still fucked up. It's like my hands are always going to be fucked up from.
It should be illegal to not give her a pillow and to have her sleep on a flat surface. Now, granted, it would be nice if they had beds. I don't know what they had. If they just had like small beds, cots, whatever. It sounds like the pillows were pretty flat and they would only give her one. So without having a medical diagnosis of like sleep apnea or something, it's probably going to be hard to get any kind of accommodation. All right? She is dangerous using these words recklessly, absolutely. Rosie thinks everything that happens to her is more extreme or was done to her on purpose, right? She's such a victim also. And it's just everybody's out to get her, but she deserves all this special treatment. It's
Sleeping like that for so many days in a row when I could sleep, and
it was like 3 days. She was there only like 3 days from what I recall.
I still have permanent side damage from it as well. It's intermittent, but
Permanent side damage for sleeping a certain way for 3 days. I call bullshit. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna call bullshit.
yeah. Anyway, I woke up at some point and I was hearing a commotion. So in the room next to me, there was her and another woman who that's its own story too. I'm leaving out a lot. There's like a lot of stuff that happened. Like it was one of the most insane experiences of my life. But I heard an interaction with her and staff, and they were
Who's
like,
her?
this was 4 years ago, and I know I documented it, and frankly, I'm like scared to read it, because I'm scared if I read what I wrote and everything she said, like, the flashbacks will come back. I kind of like that I don't fully remember it as much as I used to, as much as it used to loop in my head. But she was like saying some of her things that she would repeat a lot, and then I heard them hit her in some capacity, whether it was like slapping or punching. Like, I heard physical violence, and then I heard her say, "Don't hit me." Talking about like an 80-year-old woman.
So, I mean, we can't refute this, but is it possible the woman that was having dementia hit them and then said something? So, my father had dementia and he was in a nursing home, and we would go visit him every once in a while. He would tell us they're torturing people down there. And I'm like, Dad, no, they're not. He's like, yeah, they're torturing people down in that room at the end of the hallway. I can hear them. I can hear them yelling. And it's because he had dementia, right? I mean, it wasn't the greatest of nursing homes, to be honest, but they weren't torturing people. And people with dementia can get violent. So it is completely possible that this patient was the one that hit staff or something. And then she was like, "Oh, don't hit me." Right? It's completely possible. Um it's also possible the staff is abusive at this hospital. But if this is the woman, like she said, that has dementia, it could, and she said that she was a sundowner, I would think it's more likely that she was just having an episode. People with dementia can get aggressive, yes, very much so.
I heard them hurting her, and then I heard them laugh about it.
Oh, she's gonna cry. I don't know if this is true.
It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and my mom was in Norway. Yeah, she was in Norway, because I left my room, and the girl, I had a nickname for her. I don't remember exactly what it was, and I don't want to fully quote it because it was a little offensive. I really didn't like her because she was really mean to me in the beginning. But she was
Right.
obsessed with her Bible. Ultimately, I ended up kind of realizing how
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, why was the security guard? Why are they like, he's coming for you? Why was the security guard coming for you? What were you doing? Were you causing a scene in the cafeteria because they wouldn't give the girl an extra bowl of Fruit Loops? It's like, why, why was security coming for you?
much it was a coping thing for her. But I walked out, and she was just like obsessively like reading her Bible and rocking back and forth. And
Well, this
this was
one
the
is
girl's roommate. So she had like fled the room while this was all going down. And there was someone at the front desk, and I was just like, and I was in the room right next to the altercation, and I had to get out because like it wasn't stopping. And I was able to manipulate the front desk lady into letting me use the phone. I think she had to like
I was able to manipulate the front desk lady into letting me use the phone.
turn it on for me, if I remember right. but I was able to explain to her, like, my mom lives in Norway. Like, I promise you, it's a normal time there. Like, I'm not just randomly calling someone in the States. She's got, like, it was like a Magic Jack phone number or something.
Okay.
And so I remember, like, I called my mom and I was like, I told her what happened. My mom was really trying to help me, like, do everything I could just to get out of there. Because, you know, being assaulted is a horrible experience. It is truly a very horrific form of trauma. But I can confidently say that my experience at that facility in those 3 days was far worse than the initial trauma that took place. And
Um, I that seems like a very dangerous thing to say. First, we have you manipulating staff to get your way, to get what you want. You are upset that you're not getting accommodations that you're requesting, like extra pillows, or you're claiming they've taken away your toiletries, that you're having to be the hero for all of these people in the facility because the cooks won't listen and won't give you the food you want. You only get snacks at snack time. It's a travesty. Now, I'm not saying this place is good. The reviews for a lot of the people that have left reviews aren't very good.
I was further traumatized to the point that led to pretty much everything else that kind of
Well, we got tears.
stumbled down from the first couple weeks of 2020 into, near the end of 2022 when I landed, or sorry, 2021 when I, what's my time? What's, no, 2022, yes. I got to Florida in 2022.
I moved to Omaha at the end of 2020, moved to Florida at the end of 2021. The real healing started at the beginning of 2022.
Moved to Omaha at the end of 2021. I'm bad at timelines. I can't believe it's been 4 years. That's so crazy to me to realize that. There's so much that happened afterwards, and there was so many points of support for me throughout my experience once I was able to get out. And, you know, I really was lucky in a lot of ways, because the craziest part is things could have ended a lot worse for me, and I'm really glad that they didn't. But this story, my story like that, is not only is it not the only one, it's not the worst one of what the damage is for people in America who don't have insurance, who don't have good care, who need support, need resources, need help, and when they ask for help, that's what they get. More trauma. And I told myself for so many years I would.
So I will say she's not wrong on that. We do need better mental health care in this country. We need better facilities. We need people to have better access to mental health assistance and help. Absolutely. Do I believe everything that she has said? No.
Never go to a mental hospital. And I'm so glad that last year I was able to humble myself enough, that I was able to love myself enough to know that there was an opportunity for me to get care that I really needed, and that I could get it, and that just because this one place didn't do what they needed to do, and just because I was coerced into signing something when I was legally not in the place.
Coerced? Do we have somebody else that says coerced?
Could get it, and that just because this one place didn't do what they needed to do, and just because I was coerced into signing something when I was legally not in the place to be able to consent to any fucking thing.
It was an involuntary hold. They don't need you to consent to an involuntary hold. Sorry, I'm trying to put two comics into this one on accident.
there was a way for me to navigate the system where I was in full control, that I could leave at any moment, that I had the opportunity to get care that was paid for through my insurance voluntarily. That there wasn't some clause that made me have to submit to the system.
It's so dramatic.
That's a summarization of my story. There's a lot more to it, but I feel relieved. I feel like for the first time I've been able to get through this story coherently as much as I can with my ADHD level storytelling skills. But
yeah, it's we can take time to not cry to do that. Yeah, this was all over the place. It was very hard to follow.
Like that I'm not a mess. I deserved better. We, as a collective, deserve better. We need more funding.
I like this
cover into too. Resources for healthcare for all, but even still, just better than that. I'm never gonna throw these away.
The thing you're covering up your last name
in my life. This entire scenario, when I think back on it, I did not want this photo taken.
You really don't have a choice. It's policy for safety and security reasons. So shut the fuck up about these photos. They weren't taken to humiliate you or make you feel any sort of type of way. They take pictures of everybody at intake.
Anchor took down my review. I left a review on Google. They got it removed.
There are bad reviews.
I'd love one day to hit a level of success where I could make real systemic change. I don't know if that's going to be my lot in this life, but...
No, it's not. Your lot in life is to sit in your kitchen and roll around.
I really wish I could for her. I really wish I could for her. Oh man, that's emotional as fuck.
I'm not saying she didn't experience some bad things, however, it's hard to take her stories at face value. When she makes things like the photos a slight against her, yeah. No, Olivia, they posted the photos on Insta. Lol, Rosie is mad because of that. Yeah, it's like everything is just a personal affront to her. Lots of moody rain photos or covers of Nightwing. It's like I couldn't have water. I couldn't have this. I couldn't have snacks whenever I wanted. She's making it sound like it was supposed to be some kind of vacation. They couldn't accommodate everybody's food. The cooks wouldn't listen. It's not a vacation, Rosie. It's a mental health facility.
The fact I only cried this much is a testament to how much I've healed. Shit. I was like, I'd love to get through this without crying, but I knew that just wasn't going to happen.
Hospital burn.
One day I kind of want to go through this. I found this cute little organizer, and it's got a bunch of childhood photos and childhood memorabilia. Really important keepsake stuff. This is pretty much all of my life that I have left from everything post 2022.
I'm really bad at recalling timelines due to my concussions and memory loss issues I've developed. Well, you sure remember every little tiny thing that happened at this mental health facility. So we've gone from a very traumatic situation to, oh, this is all from my childhood. Yeah, I don't think they starved people. She's acting, yeah, it's also I wanted to try grits for the first time, and the grits weren't good. It's like, really? Really?
Or pre-2022. I lost, everything that I owned. except for these, my angels, the jade squishmallow, which is only from 2020. But like all my childhood stuff, like all my like all the like moving between like the camper and all that, I can fit it into this. Not that's sad. I won't lie, that's sad. But this survived. I survived. And I am proud of that. So I'm gonna go because I probably have to go cry a little more. But I survived. I survived hell. And I've had a lot of people along the way try to invalidate that and try to invalidate how horrible those things were to me and how they impacted me and how all of that transpired, because this was just the beginning.
Sure, maybe you had horrible experience there, but you're making it seem, I think, a lot worse than it was, just because you're a princess and you deserved special treatment.
Of some other bullshit. Well, this being the pictures that I just put in there, but this story being that way. Later, guys.
So I want to say there was one story that I heard her tell when she was being discharged from a mental health hospital. She's been either 2 or 3 times in Florida, but I don't know if it was this one in Georgia or one of the ones in Florida that lost her nightgown. And they were discharging her, and she refused to leave because they lost her nightgown. I want to say that was this one, but it could have been a different one. But she wasn't here very long. She was here a few days, from what I understand. But it's just, oh my God. Now, somebody mentioned the Uber story. Here's the, I haven't seen this one, so here's the Uber.
I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me.
I do try to stay positive, but I also stay real. And this is fucking real right now. Hi, welcome to me. It's currently 12:30 in the morning, technically on Monday, but it's still bleeding into my Sunday. I guess I'll say where I went. I did fly to Baltimore because I think it's going to be relevant for this story. I'm going to share the fun part of my trip, like the kooky parts. I have a whole travel vlog I'm going to make and launch the day that this thing I was on launches.
Uber is the one that you hate her for. Transportation is your industry for 30 years on every level. Plus, it sounds like she was having meltdowns towards the staff, the way she leaves out why they had to call security. Yeah, it sounds like she was also having her own issues, and like it sounds like she was being a terror. Is kind of what it sounds like too.
And I'm going to wait for them to announce it first. This coming Sunday, whatever date that's going to be, my brain's really not functioning. Probably the September 10th. That experience was all great. The moment I left the studio, shit hit the fan. Even the first thing that happened, I'll leave that more for my other video regarding like a crazy long, crazy Uber situation. Not because of the Uber driver, but just because of what happened. I'll save that for the other video. But this video, I wanted to make about the disastrous Uber experience that I had. I'm mortified that it still happened, and I think there's been a lot scarier and crazier Uber stories out there, but this is the most crazy Uber experience I've personally ever had. As you can see, I cried all my makeup off. I'll kind of just go into it. I leave and I get into this Uber with this fucking asshole. Everything seemed.
All of her advocating for other patients was probably just her going off on the staff for things that are probably policy, and yeah, she's the hero. She had to be there and stand up for the little person. think she has a hero complex, maybe.
Fine at first. Like, I thought we were having a pleasant conversation, and then partway into it, I kind of realized that he was acting funny, and I was having difficulty reading him. Because I talk about being from Florida, and he asked me, like, how I felt about that. And I was like, oh, you know, like, it's, I don't really like a lot of things about the powers that be, whatever. And he asked for more details. And so, in passing, like, I just kind of mentioned DeSantis as being a governor and not loving that. And then he started, like, grilling me about, like, what wokeness meant. And, like, the conversation just evolved. And I realized as soon as, like, DeSantis' name left my mouth, I went, I probably shouldn't have said that. But I just didn't think anything of it. Like, and it wasn't that fucking serious, to be honest with you. And we were just, like, conversating, and it kind of started getting weirder, and I started getting more and more uncomfortable. The topic of Christians came up somehow, because I was talking about radicals. I brought up radicals, because, like, I brought up the word radical, I don't remember why. And, I'm sorry, I'm, like, exhausted, and
I'm from fucking Florida. And, oh no, she probably got some mega Uber. That's what it sounds like. Lizzie, I'm an absent listener. Apparently, Lizzie.
Because of everything that happened after this whole part before I hit record is, like, still a little fuzzy.
Maybe
honest, swear to God. All I did was, once I finally reached a point where, like, he was acting kind of contentious, he was, like, kind of verbally attacking me a little bit. He wasn't cussing at me, but, like, he was being kind of aggressive, and, like, the vibe was fucking wank. So I was just like, can we, like, change topic?
You mean whack? Maybe just don't engage in conversations then. You know?
It's like, I really don't want to talk about this anymore. And then he goes, well, you said this and you said this. And I'm like, okay, well, I'd like to change the topic, please. And then he literally goes, okay, well, how about this? I'll go ahead and I'll just drop you off. Like, he started to pull off to the side of the road and then quickly changed his mind and ended up going to a gas station. And I was like, are you serious? Because I was like, I didn't yell at this man yet. I wasn't rude or mean.
Every time Rosie says, I didn't raise my voice, I didn't yell, I doubt that very much so. She gets angry and yells at everything in her house if something doesn't go her way. So I find it very unlikely that she would have been like, I stayed calm, I didn't yell.
I wasn't even being in a bitchy tone. Like, if I was being bitchy, I would admit it. Like, y'all will see when I got bitchy. But, like, I was genuinely just like, can we, like, this is falling down a rabbit hole. It's getting uncomfortable. We're talking about politics and that was the thing, is when I finally asked, like, can we talk about something else? It was because it devolved into a thing about religion. And, he was talking about his Christianity, and he was making me really uncomfortable, and I really felt like he was shoving his religion down my throat. And, so at that point, I was just kind of like, that's when I said, like, can we just change the topic? Like, and he pushed back, and I was like, you know, I really just don't want to talk about religion. Like, you know, I really just would like to change the topic. And then that's when all that happened, okay? So as soon as he said he was going to eject me from the Uber, probably within about a minute, I realized I was like, I should probably record myself just in case this escalates. Because, like, I was always...
There's a Nightwing cover for Ilya. Nightwing and his pumpkins. We know how easily Rosie gets. I doubt she was the picture of calm. Yeah.
He's planning to cooperate. I wasn't gonna, like, refuse to get out of the Uber. I wasn't gonna pull any bullshit. Like, he's an independent contractor. If he didn't want me in his car, fine. We can cancel the ride. I can get a new one. I can leave a review. It's whatever. So I thought, I'll get to that in a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and insert it here. Ridiculous. You're the one that started this conversation around religion. That was not me. You asked me to talk about Florida, and I was talking about Florida.
And you started talking about dissent and everything. I never asked you anything.
You asked me tons of questions about DeSantis.
You brought it up. I never brought it up. I never said anything to you. So
yeah,
right
yes,
you
did.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop you off right here.
Sounds like they have. Sounds like an accent. Possible African accent. So let's hear this again. Her voice is raised. She's being very combative.
Ridiculous. You're the one that started this conversation around religion. That was not me. You asked me to talk about Florida, and I was talking about Florida.
And you started talking about DeSantis and everything. I never asked you anything.
You asked me tons of questions about DeSantis.
You brought it up. I never brought it up. I never said anything to you.
I'm not sure, Hibiscus. I'm not sure.
So
yeah,
right
yes, you did.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop you off right here.
You're welcome to drop me off, sir, but you're the one who started this, not me. I know you're a slow contractor, but you should know not to talk about serious topics like that to passengers.
No, you brought it up. I've been driving for Uber. You brought that up. So, again,
and I was having a pleasant conversation with you, and then you started verbally attacking me.
I never accused you of everything. I never said nothing to you. So that's a lie from the pit of hell, and that's why I'm dropping you. Before you accuse me of raping you.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh my god. That escalated quickly.
I would never accuse someone of rape. Are you serious? Are you serious? I'm happy to get out of your car, but to say that I would accuse you of rape is disgusting. I would never accuse someone of rape just because you're an unprofessional Uber driver. Are you serious?
I was repeatedly saying, get out of my car if I wasn't cooperating when you, as you saw, I had willingly and immediately exited the vehicle.
Kingsley, you're fucking disgusting. How dare you treat women that way? No, I'm out of your car, sir, and I'm grabbing my stuff. How dare you talk to another woman like that? To accuse you of rape? Are you fucking serious, you monster? Shut the fuck up and close the door. I'm not speaking to you any further. I will be reporting you to Uber because you are the one who started this. You are the one who escalated this. You are the one that has created a situation that never existed. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on, you absolute monster.
Yeah, watching her get out of the car was painful. Yeah, she has anger issues. He said, yeah, the drivers need dash cams. Yeah, so it started out with he's like, I didn't bring it up, you brought it up. And then he said, get out of my car before you accuse me of graping you. And she flew off the handle, which that was uncalled for him to say. But then she started calling him a monster and just yelling.
I already went ahead and posted that on Facebook, like the whole unedited version of this clip, because it's fucking insane. Like, the part that really blew me when I watched it back, because I kind of, everything before he ended up using the word, after he used that, I went red, and I, kind of barely remembered everything before, because I went into full fight or flight, and I couldn't fly, so I fought. And that's what y'all saw. I don't act like that normally, ever.
Yes, you do.
That's a very abnormal occurrence for me.
Too.
And as you saw in the beginning, I was calling him sir. I was like, I'm happy to get out of your car.
You were calling him sir, but you were being very argumentative. You were being very argumentative and very loud in the initial interaction. So if that is her thinking she's being calm, no. Oh, hey, I see myself over here in my suggested videos. Um, it's that's not a calm interaction. So for her to be like, I didn't raise my, your voice was raised. Your voice was raised at the beginning of that video in that conversation. Now, him saying, get out of my car before you accuse me of raping you, maybe he's had bad experiences um, with women. Uh, Using sir can be passive aggressive. Oh, yeah. Thanks, sir. Yeah. And she didn't have a calm tone. She didn't have a calm tone whatsoever. And he asked her to get out. He's the one that sounded calm. Um, and then she flew off the handle whenever. Now, again, should he have said that? No. But she just flew off.
Car, like, it's not a problem. After I ended that clip, there was a lady in the car and she saw me distraught. She heard the verbal altercation. She asked me what was wrong, and I walked over to her, started talking to her, and that's when he pulled up close to us so he could start talking to us. And that's, insert this next clip.
She called and called.
Leave! Leave! I'm no longer your rider. Leave! You are harassing me. Leave! Leave! You are harassing me. Apparently, you're thinking about me because you're the one that brought that up, you fucking monster! But also, like, just, I wanted him to leave. Like, I was like, leave. Because the other thing he said in the car, like, before I hit record, he cited that the reason he didn't hit me in his Uber anymore is he no longer felt safe. So if you no longer feel safe, why are you pulling back around? And then here in this next clip, what happened was he had walked away. I was like already crying at this point. Like, I was like, I started having a panic attack at this point because I was so overstimulated. It was really warm. I was scared. I was alone in a city I'd never been in. I had a really rough afternoon, like, based on, like, how I didn't get to go sightseeing at all. Like, all this stuff happened. That just, when it...
I had a rough afternoon because I didn't get to go sightseeing. He was not safe with her in the vehicle. He felt safer once she was out of the car. Yeah, I don't. Oh my God.
led up to this moment, I was just super overwhelmed and, like,
Yeah.
scared. Like, this man took this nothing of a situation and brought up into it. And, like, I was like, what the fuck? And, like, as someone who's a trauma survivor, like, that's a trigger. Like when I say I saw red, like, I mean that shit. Like, I just got so fucking rage induced because, like,
Which isn't a good look for you, to make it seem like when you get triggered or you get angry that you basically just black out and see red and don't know what you're saying or doing, is kind of what it sounds like. That's not a good look.
I was assaulted in 2020. Like, I was accused of falsely accusing someone, which is just not true. I would never make a false allegation against anyone. Ever. Like, that shit's so fucking serious. I would never make a false allegation about sexual assault. Especially just because this guy is, like, being a bit of an asshole. Like, he could have just pulled over, let me get out of the fucking Uber, and then gone on his merry fucking way.
You were kind of
but
being
no,
an asshole
he
too.
escalated it, and I was like, I'm here to fucking fight, with words. Because I ain't trying to get arrested today. Or
Right,
he
Taylor?
pulled around, he parked on the other side of the building.
I haven't seen this before. Oh, sorry, Lizzie. I I haven't seen this before, but I've been saying for probably a month now that she has anger issues. I don't think she really sees red. I think she just uses that as a flex. Yeah, something. I don't know. Like I just logged into work. Her body is literally a weapon. Who wouldn't be scared? Oh, Lizzie.
Unbeknownst to me.
Whoops.
I'm standing next. This is just a random fucking woman.
Hold on. Did I? Okay.
Why he wants to prove anything to anybody, I don't fucking know. And he walks around the building holding a Bible. No!
In the name of Jesus, she's a liar. She's crazy.
She's a liar. She's crazy.
Please leave! Leave! You are no longer my Uber driver. I'm going to call the police. I'm going to call the police.
I did nothing to you.
Go away! You are harassing me.
You are a liar from the pit of hell in Jesus' name.
Go away! Go away! Ma'am, please don't.
The Uber driver does need to go. The Uber driver is making it worse. He can just leave.
Don't engage with him. Ma'am, please don't engage with him.
Drop you off before you accuse you.
And he said that when I said nothing of the sort.
She went crazy. I said, you know what? I'm not taking you nowhere. I'm gonna drop you off right here.
Which I said was fine.
Accuse me of touching you. I never did nothing to her. I pick her up. She's going to.
And I was just flummoxed, and like I was really upset that that lady engaged him. Like at that point, I had mentioned police before that moment. If he had left, I would have never called the police. Hell, if he had never used the like word, like I would have never yelled at him like that. I would have never felt so scared. Like I never would have escalated as much as I did. I took that seriously.
And that
It
poor
was
random lady.
really fucking weird. That whole interaction was fucking bizarre. And then he was like refusing to leave and harassing me, even though apparently I'm the one that made him feel unsafe because I asked him to stop talking about a topic. Politely, might I add. So at that point, after that clip, I called 911. And he vanished, I thought. I was on the phone, and that's when like I was like hyperventilating. The heat started getting to me while I was on the phone at that point, and I actually started like gagging because the food that I had eaten was really heavy and didn't sit right in my stomach. There was like some confusion because somewhere in that moment while I was on 911, I realized like just in case I need to screenshot his name and license plate number and like on the Uber page, and I'm so glad I did because the person I ended up talking to eventually at Uber did not know how he did this, but they couldn't explain to me why. But basically, while I was like on the phone with 911, I saw a new Uber had been ordered for me, and I was like, the fuck, that's weird. And I go and look, and I'm like, oh, I guess there's an Uber on the way. Like, I didn't order it though. I assumed, I guess he had done something. Well, we get that figured out. They say that they're going to have someone call me. So basically, I realized that this new Uber was being sent to the original location, not where I was currently at. And I was like, that's weird. So then I was forced to cancel the request. When I canceled the request, it only saved the second driver's information and not the first. And it was like I had never been connected to the first driver. And they couldn't even find a record of him, which was another reason why I really wanted an incident report.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking, Sammy. He canceled it, so it went to the next driver to pick it up. And since it was her original request, it still had her original pickup location instead of her current location.
So I sent them the screenshot, which was another reason why I really wanted an incident report. So I sent them the screenshot to like show his name and his license plate so they'll be able to find him as a driver. So I mean, I didn't get charged for the ride, which I guess is cool or whatever. The police ended up calling me right when I figured all that out, and I was like, actually, like, I'm stranded now. Like, there isn't an Uber coming now. Can you come so I can talk to you? Because, like, I really want to talk about this. So the police showed up within a few minutes. And I walked over and I started talking to him. And again, I would have never called the police if he had left. Like, when I got done with that first clip, like, the long one, the very first clip in the beginning, had he just fucking left the parking lot and, like, not walked up to me not kept harassing me. I was stranded. Okay? I was literally stranded. And instead of...
You aren't stranded if you can just order another Uber. But, let's see. Who else have we heard about recently that's been stranded? Could it be the coworker that you left in a parking lot? Hmm.
following through with making me stranded, he stayed in the parking lot and like was just like hovering around and like waiting for me in the wings. When I was talking to the police, enough time had passed that I assumed he had just left. All right. We were talking to the police. I was kind of going back and forth. I was asking if I could file a police report, and he wouldn't file the police report.
So
basically,
dramatic.
he was citing the reason as the man had left, and the police officer wasn't very helpful at that point. And I kept pressing him, and I was like, can I get an incident number? Can I get some kind of record that this conversation happened, please? Because the whole reason I was even called the police was just for that. I wasn't like trying to get him arrested for anything, because I didn't think he really technically did any kind of crime, right? But like I just wanted a record of what happened for when I contacted Uber. We were wrapping up, and he was just going to give me an incident number, and I was going to go on my merry fucking way. I had just ordered the reorder of the Uber, and this man fucking pops up out of nowhere.
Oh god, he's still there?
And walks around onto the driver's side. I was on the passenger side. I showed the police officer the videos that I showed y'all. And it got to the point where I told him to fuck you and the horse you rode in on,
Right.
the officer went, and I was like, I said what I said. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on. Fuck that. I have gone through too much shit in my life to take anything like that lying down. The utter disrespect, the insane unprofessionalism, the asinine escalation of the situation in its entirety. Like, we could have just sat in awkward silence for 10 minutes. Like, I just didn't want to keep talking about religion. That should be respected. Like, I finally just, like, I just tried to set a boundary with a man, God for fucking bid. Because that's all it was. And
But we heard how you spoke to him too, though. Your voice was not calm. You were not calm in that interaction whatsoever. You were getting very heated and angry yourself. Wonder if he was worried what she was going to tell the police. Probably. Yeah, I wanted to be like, I'm going to get this story straight.
I cannot stress to you guys enough how, like, polite I was about it. I wasn't trying to cause a problem. I wasn't trying to be bitchy. I had just had a long day. He was making me feel...
But you weren't being polite, and you were being bitchy. And I'm so sorry you didn't get to sightsee. And that you ate some heavy food and you made your tum-tum all upset.
Feel uncomfortable. And, like, the
comment about grape from him was unnecessary. I will give that.
Have been some kind of miscommunication, language barrier situation going on. Sure, that's totally plausible, and like could have ended up fueling into this, unfortunately.
Why does she always look greasy? Does she have product in her hair, or is it just natural grease?
In this unfortunate situation, but like this ended up with me having like a full-blown panic attack to the point of like hyperventilating in public. Like, it was super embarrassing, and it took me a while to calm down, and I was just
like, you yelling at this man in the parking lot wasn't embarrassing for you. It was the hyperventilating and panic attack that was embarrassing for you. Okay.
Just so fucking exhausted, and now it's like I'm so exhausted right now. Like, that airplane ride was awful, because to top it all off, my phone was super low on battery, and I normally am really good about always having a charger, and I meant to pack 2 chargers, and I ended up only packing 1, and the one I packed didn't have a little wall plug-in, so I ordered one off CVS, like DoorDash, and that was one was super janky and weird and like didn't work right. I had like only 20% left, so I couldn't use my phone on the flight, and I didn't bring anything else with me because I was supposed to have.
Oh no, you poor baby. Oh, and to top it all off, I couldn't use my phone on my flight.
Have a charged phone.
Do what the rest of us do, curl up and sleep.
But between the fucking multiple Uber issues and the shitty meal and my bad attitude by the end of it all, I was just so upset because I.
Um, Having chargers on planes is kind of a new addition, and it depends on the plane and the airline.
am excited to say that Sunday's vlog is gonna be pretty dope. This was just kind of like a crazy scenario. I'm still so overstimulated. I appreciate you guys.
I'm overstimulated.
Sorry to come on here with a negative update first, but I want to get this out of the way, get it posted and over with, because I just thought it was an interesting story, and I don't want this story to overtake the vlog that I made. So when I'm in a better mood, I will film the outro for my big vlog that's gonna go up probably on Sunday. Is what I'm thinking. I kind of want to upload it. I'll either upload it on Sunday or like the day before. It was great chatting with y'all. Yeah. Later.
Oh my god, that was cringe. Let's see what the comments. Talking about the men. Compares Christians to radicals and insults someone's religion, then makes a YouTube video crying about how she was kicked out of the guy's Uber. How in the world can you literally think it was the Uber driver's fault? Uh, uh, it's your word against his, and I got to tell, honey, recording the tail end of a conversation is not a good look for you. Is this account a joke, or are you really this unself-aware? OMG, how did you fit in that car? The springs were hanging on for dear life. Jenny Craig just saying. Oh my god. Serious though, do they have size limits in Ubers? Oh my goodness. So we have size issues but no limits. So with the first video we watched with the medical kidnapping, I don't see um any medical kidnapping going on. It was an involuntary hold. They decided she needed to be put into an inpatient place. And it wasn't bougie enough for her ass. So she complains and whines. Now, I will say again, reviews for that place aren't glowing. It has a lot of negative reviews. Um, for the Uber, not a good look for her. Not a good look for her whatsoever. So it's kind of like with the coworker incident. She thinks she's in the right, and she uploads these stories and videos where it's like, yeah, I'm going to charge them $15 for one way. And they're she's so not self-aware. And just she thinks that she thinks that she's the one that's in the right, and she's not. Um, yeah, she doesn't look calm. Not at all. Not at all. Rosie, Rosie, Rosie. Yeah. All right. Well, it is after midnight for me, and that was a little bit more of the history of Quirky Love Rosie, aka Rosie Lynn Reed. I just my flabbers are gasted. But yeah, we may stream tomorrow a little bit. I don't know. It depends. I have some house stuff I still want to do, and I may need to go back to doing some work tomorrow for a job too. But we'll see. I may wait until Sunday. So, yeah, thank you all. I got comics bagged and boarded, and almost all of them put away, or bagged and boarded at least. I have a few more to do. But thank you for spending time with me. I greatly appreciate it. And maybe we'll see you tomorrow. I don't know yet. But I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night. If I don't see you, have a fabulous weekend. And until next time, be safe and take care.